There's one, I hope Masha, we did something, this for me to prepare for the teaching, to study. These fires, maybe, I hope Masha not give to others. And also here's some, it's Lotsava, they ask to me, normally I don't want to give because it's when we are preparing, sometimes it's like, it's like missing line, then it's dangerous. In the future, maybe someone takes serious to publish, and slowly it's like very bad. Therefore, Mashavi, there's forgotten one Tibet line, but I think English is okay. And they made the Tamumbo Mavan, Yan the Kombab says, there is. But in English, it's okay. Here it says, the pieces of the gossip that seem to have come up quite naturally and spontaneous. Sometimes gossip things naturally occurring and automatically occurring. And then you randomly to say like this kind of, then that is the meaningless chatter. There's no purpose. And also this one make negative things. Therefore he said, it's like some gossip are the occurring naturally, automatically, spontaneous, but you never to kind of to bring outly. And here said are for the most part, these gossip things. When you look at more closely, motivated by the desire or the hatred. This gossip is reality, really is like a kind of the, comes from the motivation of the desire. Maybe we can do before says like you talking about gossip, about the prostitute, about the like kind of the, how do you say, there's one, it's a very special song, and maybe it's a robbery, and maybe not worthy. This sort of are the motivated by the desire. And then you like randomly, automatically, is coming into your mind or arousing in your mind, then you take out from your mouth. Maybe hatedly, it's like motivated, hatedly gossip things. Maybe war, maybe it's like a kind of the challenge, competition. And this sort of, you like kind of your opposite. Maybe it's your enemies. And something very much you are dislike and hated. And then it's like naturally gossip is occurring. Yesterday we are talking about like if you're dislike someone's, if you are not happy someone's, and this person's may be sick, this person has problems, this person's something uncomfortable things, you want to talk more. Yes, this person's like this, but now this person is problems, this and that. And this kind of, when we have the motivation, is very, very negative. Reality is like, sometimes people say it's like, oh, like that I don't like this person is, we have like kind of, I have jealousy, and this person's, we argue, this person's my complete enemies, okay? And certainly this person's become sick. Yes, this person's sick. If die, almost you are paradise. But not really paradise. Your inner, this kind of happiness, it's a negative happiness. Absolutely, it's like destroying your own happiness. This is like kind of like hunters when are killing the animals, when they shot to the animal ruling, animal sufferings like kind of on the mountain to rolling down, they say, oh, look, very funny. Say, what is the reality? Is funny. You are funny, you are like kind of happy, but this animal is received like a bullet and it's like going to die. Like this is a kind of the motivated by the hatred towards to the enemy, and talking about the nonsense, chatting like worthless, and also is we destroy ourselves. If you don't think about yourself, if you have desire, you want to talk gossip, if you want to talk through your hatred and other your enemies, you can do. Why not? But reality, you destroy into yourself. We destroy ourselves. That like a candle here is said, gravity of the fault will be in proportion to the amount of the attachment or the hatred created in your own or the other's mind. It's mind, like motivated by your desire attachment, or desire and hatred. This gravity of the like kind of the heavy, or how it is the like kind of the produce the negative consequence. And here is the proportion of the amount of the attachment, like how much you give to others' mind about the attachment. Maybe you're talking about some is like kind of the sexy things, and you have full of the kind of the like a portion of the desire attachment. Maybe you talk like kind of hated things, maybe army and wars and like kind of things. And the other's mind is absolutely proportion to pulling into the hatred things. Oh yeah, you are right. We need to destroy it, like created your own mind or others' mind. That is the such like kind of the negative, and also it's like kind of the very, very heavy gravity of the thoughts. It's a very, how do you say, heaviest things. It's negative actions and through the gossip things. And also while you are the saying prayer or reciting, and also it's like mantras, mixing them with the irrelevant talk. Well, stop them, bring any fruit, no matter how many you say. And also yourself, when you are doing some dharma, like maybe you are praying, maybe you recite prayers, maybe you recite the mantras, maybe you are like kind of to be in your morning sessions, follow up the creation stage, maybe dissolution stage. Maybe you say like this, but you are like kind of, there is many kind of different and the gossip. Maybe you are like verbally or the mentally like kind of the mouthly, body is like properly to settle, like kind of the meditation positions. And verbally you are like kind of maybe pray, maybe Shoncho Sencho Rinpoche, or maybe recite the mantras or Mani Padma Horde. But inside is like so many kind of the gossip thoughts, and like kind of the relate to the desire attachment, related to the hatred, like this. And also maybe it's like nearby your partner or your friend, your sanghas, and then you are talking, but you are like, we say, your malad is very fast, your finger is maybe almost, going to two part, because you so much use your mala, and recite is like maybe from your mouth, it's water like bubble is coming out. But sometimes, what you heard, what you say, yeah, this person's like this, yeah, there is a war, yeah, there is a robbery, yeah, there is nice music. Like if you're talking like this, then mix it your like a daily practice things, then this is like irrelevant talks, irrelevant nonsense. Really is like kind of meaningless. There is a kind of not valuable talk, this kind of like stop them brings. For example, what you are like doing the prayer, dharma activities is a kind of big obstacles, and it's nothing kind of the result of fruitions. Maybe you recited the mantra trillions, maybe prayers millions with your gossip things. then there's nothing kind of the fruits. No matter how many you say it, maybe it's like you recited the billions of Vajrasattva mantra and Avalokiteshvara or Guru Rinpoche Masambhavas, trillions, but you are not properly, you with a kind of the negative gossip and then together say. Maybe we can to say you have a very delicious food, the same time you put it inside like small poisons, then this food is like nothing be healthy. The food is become itself is more poisonous. Maybe some part helped, but some part is destroying. And like this, you doing some positive things, prayer, reciting mantras, dharma activity, but same times you have mentally kind of gossip thinking, no purpose, like kind of ideas, and also random. Then it's more profound, more benefit, more meritorious, and that is very important. And this applies especially to the different kind of the gossip that circulated along the rows of the gathered sanghas. That is often maybe it's the happened when you are like gathered sanghas, like kind of the particularly in the circulated like a middle, maybe making puja, follow up the sadhana during the drupchans, maybe it's like be together, and then it's like a kind of you are not really follow, but of course in the front of your texts, you holding the malas and recited, but same times, yes, what? How about last night television? Yes, this politician is bad. Oh yes, who is president? Blah blah blah. This and this sangha. That this kind of if you do, that is not very good. This is like a worthless chapter. You like kind of the broken your accumulation, making the deteriorate your virtue activities. One is the signal like a gossip monger can cause the merit of the whole congregations to be spoiled, and the meritorious actions of the benefactor and patrons to be wasted. And there is maybe it's like some gossip mongers. Gossip monger is maybe one person's to kind of done something, making the cause. For example, we can to say it's like one in America now, one police is and killed one person, and this causes the whole the state and even the worldwide how much making the turmoils. And like this, sometimes gossip mongers and be in the middle of the like kind of gathering the sanghas, and you say something like kind of desirous things. Maybe it is like a kind of more charming things, and then everybody is like distracted to listen to these gossip mongers, and then it's like really you make a big kind of the problems, means it's like a kind of spoiled your meritorious and actions, and also it's like destroyed the benefactors meritorious. Also it's like kind of the destroyed the meritorious actions of the patrons. To be is like kind of the everything's waste way, and therefore in the sometimes in the sanghas and when we put together, we need self-discipline. I don't want to talk. I want to don't say nothing. Maybe make a joke. Better to follow up the shatapism. And if you like kind of something to say, some word, and this is making a lot of disturb to the others. And like maybe you are talking about gossip, like a kind of become the gossip mongers, or it's like talking through your desire, through your like kind of the hatred. In the text says motivated by the desire or hatred, and then you have say something they bring out very much randomly, spontaneously, to put in the middle of the sanghas when they are recitating or meditations or doing some positive things. Then you like kind of distracted their minds, then that destructions spoiled all the meritorious actions, both like this doer and also the like how do you say, it's like a doer of the benefactors. Like this, then it's like a kind of the everything is action is wasted, means it's like making kind of deteriorated, contaminated, and also it's like making very bad. In this case, in the middle, when we be in the middle of the sanghas, we cannot become the gossip monger or the like a talker, and we need to have mindfulness to keep the self-discipline. Is very important. And also here is more Patrul Rinpoche is talking about the like practitioners, like maybe monks and the nuns and the lamas, so on. He is talking about the someone's you doing the puja or the ritual things for the benefactors. And if you do the benefactors, they offering to you something. And then it's like both sides you are making married. But if you be in the gossip mongers and you are chatting like gossip, and then certainly it's usually spoiled all the meritorious, the both sides. Like they do, the recitator or the puja maker of the monks, nuns, what they do in the dharma activity spoiled. And also it's the sponsor of the benefactors doing some accumulation merit also spoiled. And in this perspective, it's needed to take in case. In the noble land of the India, in Tibet we call the India as noble land, holy land. Why you say like this? Because it's the Buddhas appeared there and the teachings existence. Therefore we call the noble land, superior land. And to make kind of the funny. And Tibetan people first time came and in India was so happy. And Indian people think Tibetan people like all of them is like God or God dress. And when they see the Tibetan people is touching, like they touch hand on the feet and then put like receive blessings. And also Tibetan people arrive in India, so they say, we are now in the noble land. Surely it's a pure land. And then it's Tibetan people more to stay there. They eat meat. Sometimes they're very aggressive and argue and fighting. And then like this, they say they are not really like this. Some is like, okay, Dharma practice masters, or the Tibet people's like this. And also Tibetan people's first time, they big hope, like expecting noble land. There one is a committee, there's, and the first Tibetan lamas came to in India, almost completely destroyed Buddha's like kind of activities. Even the Buddha Gaya is, some is a third takers to put under the ground. They a little bit in the head you can to see them, because they put a bomb. They did try many times to destroy it, but they couldn't. And then they put under the ground like earth. And then it's a start, they do like taking out. And then it's like they arrive and there's, this is a pure land, this is the noble land. And then they say, oh sorry, it's not really, there's a lot of kind of poor, dirty, and something's coming. Then they lost. Where is the noble land? But it's it's true. When I go to the university, it's a Buddhist university, And we are talking about in the noble lands, they teaching dharmas like this. In the noble land, there's 2 universities. It is like kind of the Nalanda University and the Bachamashili, these universities, these traditions like this in the noble land. Wow. Someone says, went to in the noble land. They say, I'm now in India. Said, well, when I can go to there, something like this. And coming is, of course, when you visit the holy Buddhas like this behind, it's like we have 12 deeps of the Buddhas. And you go to the Nalandas, it's quite very sad, very huge, but it's only trade. And the Lambanita and the Saranath, and then is Buddha Gayas, you can to see that there is a trade, like kind of trace. And it's okay, noble land, because Buddhas appear, but teaching is almost disappeared. Nothing there is. One is, I think, is first a little bit. Some is like Burma, like kind of these yellow monks, but almost. But now it's more and more, because I heard a few years ago many Hindus become again Buddhist, because it's like now they discovered Buddha's philosophy. Really, it is like a ancient, like holiness all the time is expressed like a holy, like a kind of the old India's philosophy and old holy, like kind of the teaching, particularly for the psychological perspective. It is really is like this logical, this valid, like cognitions or the something is the Buddha's idea teachings is very, very benefit, very much truth, and he all the times comes from India. Then India come from Buddha, and then it's like many they say this is our like culture, our like kind of spiritualities. Why we lost that one? Then many Hindus has become like kind of Buddhist. Now it's like, of course, in India it's very much proud. They appreciate very much holiness. Because holiness be in India is many, many like kind of the worldwide, many coming to there. And now it's like in Bodh Gaya there's a kind of big prayers and reveal. And particularly there's one Buddhist guy. He was so amazing. One in India is was the colon for the Buddhists. And he was in the Ajanta. Not really Ellora. Ellora is a very beautiful holy place. And I went to there. It's like in India, most like a trees, a little bit shamali tree, you know. If you go to in the middle, if there's no path, it's very difficult to take away your clothes. It's a lot of needles. But in Elloras, it's very soft grass, soft trees. And it's wonderful. One valley is like this. Oh, there's many caves, because before there is Buddhist and meditators. Even there is a Shantadeva's picture. Now it's like a Pemakara translations, I think, first version. And outside there's a Shantadeva sitting like this. This picture I saw in the Ellora. And that time is once is like no Buddhist came, Turticus. They destroyed, and they cannot destroy the whole the mountain in the rocks. And then their caves, they put mud and completely closed. And then is this the British guy, I think he, before I know the name, he was there's hunting some. And then in the opposite this valley, there's one small mountain. He was top of there and sitting. And he has some, it's like service of India, of course. And he saw the one window in the cave. And he asked to the service Indians, what there is? Something is a trace, like something. Then they say, I think before a long time ago, there is a Buddhist like meditations cave. And after something is destroyed. And then he went to there and he saw that this. Then he asked internationally to reveal this like kind of very, very important heritage, and also it's like a very important history about Buddhas. Then he got the permissions. He 30 years to clean up these caves. And then he started, then it's like he researched all the Buddhas. And also it's like we have in the Buddha's birth when it's really this in Tibetan. Of course, then Shantaraj, they translated to in Tibetan. But after he discovered in Lumbini Tsar, I think he became the more archaeologist, and he revealed that this Buddha's birthplace, some in the pillar, there is already written. And then it's like more also very nice evidence. Sometimes in India almost disappeared even the history of Buddhas. And when is Buddhas are born, when is Buddhas appear. This almost because they destroyed completely. Then after he revealed, then it's a fantastic way. And then is many like then of course Buddha Gaya they dig out to appear. Now the Buddha Gaya is so wonderful, and now it's like international this security is taking care. Varanasi and Nalanda University just trade. There's nothing but, and also it's like Kalachaka teachings. I went to there, the Kalachaka Buddha taught place. There's such big stupa, completely destroyed, nothing. There's only trace. But there's one museum, there is like Buddhas. And also near the Mumbai, there is many Buddhist holies, wonderful. Now slowly. Then it's like this, noble land, means it's the Buddhas appear, and also teaching was there. But now it's teaching more and more coming back to in India. And like this, as the rule, only those who had the highest attainment and were free from all harmful defects had the right to use fund, donate to the sanghas, and the Buddha permitted no one else to do so. And in India, it's someone's doing the puja, or some is like a kind of ritual things for the benefactors. And then this doer, these monks, practitioners, you need to such some qualities. It had this, it's to like kind of, how do you say, shortly, in Tibet there's then trolls. Okay, possessions and liberations. Possession and liberations. But here is translated, who had the highest attainment. And this is like someone who has position. That means it's the position of the high realization. Maybe it's like the quality of the enlightenment. If you are like passing by the first path, second path, you reach in the third path, the path of the seeing. Maybe it's like you reach the first bhumi, and that times you have some positions, the enlightened position, and you achieved some special attainment. And then it's like freedom, sir. Freedom means it's like you free of the disturbing emotion. This is good. Where the from, like free from all the harmful defects, means it's like kind of you are free from the disturbing your own emotions, desire and hatred, so on. If this kind of some practitioners achieve this kind of high realizations, monks, nuns, lamas, then they can do some ritual things for the benefactors. Otherwise, it's like just a kind of you can to recite, you can to do pujas, but it's inner. There's nothing kind of the achievement. Then it's to take out your like kind of offering things to doing. There's maybe it's dangerous. Therefore, particularly now it's talking about in the noble land, the Buddha Shakyamuni, he ruled like kind of given the laws. If someone's doing the puja or rituals, benefit for the benefactors, you should to have your own self, the doer self, your higher realization, free from all the disturbing emotions. And then it's like you can to accept the donated to the sanghas. And that he didn't give permitted no one else. And then here it says, but nowadays people learn one or two through authentic rituals, like authentic some sadhana. And these days, some people want to very much to do something. As soon as they can recite them, they start to use whatever dangerous offerings they can get. Dangerous offerings. There's our Lotsava, and she asked me through the Masha, what does it mean, dangerous? And literally, if you translate it, it's like the black offerings. In Tibet, it's offering. It is like offering things. Last time we name is why you forgot it. No, other things. You forgot the name. And here is the dangerous, they translated. Literally, is a kornak means black offering means. Here is translated dangerous. I think it's Lotsava say, what is the dangerous? Because it is dangerous if you, it's like you haven't got any qualities yourself, externally, and no kind of the educations. You have only to know how to do some authentic rituals, and like kind of the verbally, maybe it's like kind of the way of the parrot way. But inside the meaning of the creation stage, meaning of the dissolution stage, how to visualize, how to do, and nothing you don't know. In like kind of the maturation process in your mind, maybe there's nothing. And then if you accept these donations, it's very dangerous for you. And these offerings to make the cause of the rebirth in the hell. Like same as the history of the black horse or rather lama. And you need to do something is like kind of the process and the like freedoms in your mind. Process is like realizations, positions, and possess. Position or possess? Position. And also it's like you need to free from your own disturbing emotions. Without that, then it's like very dangerous for you. Therefore, it's dangerous. They translated Nakpo. Nakpo is Hako Osons. Lots of maybe you watching or maybe the Masha she translate. In Tibet, it's a Kor Nakse. Kor is offering things. Nak is the black offerings. Here is translated dangerous. Maybe meaningly translated, not literally. And why it is dangerous? Because these offerings can make you in cause of the rebirth in the low realms. For example, this black horse, or rather, he took a lot of dangerous offerings, horse, yaks, and sheep, and also nyoa and choa. Oh, no, not nyoa. And then it's make rebirth in the hell. And like this, therefore, it's whatever dangerous offering, this means they can get, it's a very dangerous, you need to say. For example, without having received the empowerment, without having maintained all the samayas, of course, particularly, someone is like a kind of the follow-up authentic ritual, like kind of the sadhana. And these things is like without empowerment, without transformation, you can do. Without having any kind of the maintain all the samayas, you don't know the samayas, and also without keeping the samayas, nothing to have any kind of authentic vows to you, and you haven't got any transformation, empowerment, then you do the rituals for the benefactors, you accept these dangerous offerings, then it's very dangerous, because this offering things, maybe you use, maybe you become very comfortable, you can to buy black cars, you can to build the black house, you can to make enrich your families and something. But when you die, you close eyes, and then there's no intermediate, like kind of pardo, immediately go to the Vajra hells. Therefore, it is the dangerous means. It's like this, and otherwise it's like there is a history of the one Dzogchen Rinpoche. I think third Dzogchen Rinpoche. When he passed away, there's one. I think here we have. Last time is also we talk in the already in the how do you say, defects of the samsara or something, and he passed away. And then it's like there's one high lama. It came and to kind of the to how do you say to making ceremony. Certainly these high lamas came. He's making poa and ritual things, doing like same as the normal persons. And then in the monasteries, they are very sad. Our teacher is Dzogchen Rinpoche. Why you do the normal ways? He said, don't worry. Because the Dzogchen Rinpoche is no problem, but he forgot it. One person, some offered to him something like dangerous offerings, and he forgot the dedications and to do something. And this one making the obstacles Rinpoche's path, like kind of, even that this kind of holding realized persons and making problems, we and together to making this person to help. Now it's okay, say. For example, it's a Dzogchen Ranyak. Once it's like he's a travelers, and there is one guy, he has one son, and maybe wife is died or separate. There's two person. They have many yaks, 100 yaks. And then this person has very much faith to the Dzogchen, and he offered 100 yak to offer. He says, when I'm dying, can you help me? Then Dzogchen, he accepted. And then it's after traveling 1 year, and certainly in the evening, and Rinpoche's like when they are camping place, Rinpoche's tent is different a little bit. And then it's like they make the tea, food, the attendants bring tea, something. But before he brought the tea, and there's one, looks like this offerer of this guy, father, he's wearing some clothes, everything. He entered into the Chense Rinpoche's tent. And then he need waiting. And then it's certainly, maybe they went to that, there's no bodies. And he offered the tea, is the Rinpoche. Who is this guy? He said, did you see this? Don't to say anybody's. Yes? Yeah, so the answer, don't to tell to. He offered to us 100 yak. This guy's died. Of course, I have dipped. He came to me. Now I'm died. What are you doing? Say, he told to me. And then it's like he doing some like kind of ritual things. But then it's after 2-3 days, and his sons came. And then son says, my father's died a few days ago. And please, Rinpoche, it's like I informed to say that. Then Dzogchen said, yeah, but already father is before he came already there. And like this, the dangerous offerings sometimes is like this. You accepted you should to have empowerment and the transformations, also keep samayadam. You accepted the offering things. It's very dangerous. Probably Lotsawa, you understand like this, okay, to tell Masha like this. And also this is without having mastered the generations, without having mastered the generation stage, you can to say. Stage means it's like one by one. For example, when we are visualized into the Buddha, maybe you follow the Buddha's the rituals, sadhana, and then there is like kind of the creations, the generation stage, how you visualize. And maybe you visualize in the front, maybe you visualize yourself, and that is like kind of you transforming and yourself, or this like a kind of the pure perceptions you transform into the like pure perceptions. For example, and also what we need to transform, most important, we need to transform our negative tendencies. We have some negative tendencies. According to these negative tendencies, we perceive all the time as impurity perceptions, like impurity appearances. Like, for example, last time we perceive hell, hunger, ghosts, animal realm, even in our human realms. Sometimes we have received very ugly appearances, maybe war, maybe famine, and hungry, thirsty, sickness. Look, for example, now in the commune we have like pandemic, this kind of also perceive many human beings are lost. And this kind of ugly comes from maybe our negative patterns. And then it's like these patterns maybe we need to change, quickly transform into the positive patterns. And therefore, generation stage means visualization. Visualization means like you thinking about one like enlightened self. Maybe it's like not imagine. In the Buddhist perspective, we have many like a kind of enlightened. For example, now here's Buddha and Bhima how many like they are the beginning is the humans. For example, 8 Bodhisattvas. Some in the historically is a very long time, a little mysterious. But in the conventionally, in the relative perspective, these 8 Bodhisattvas are the disciple of the Buddhas. And there is how to become the enlightenment. For example, same as Buddha himself. He first time generated bodhicitta, and afterwards, like 3 countless eons, he made accumulation merit, and then finally he became the enlightenment. That means is beginning he applied the compassion bodhicitta. In the middle, he practiced the compassion. Then finally, he realized the compassion, and then become the superiorities, extraordinary human beings. It's touchable, seeable, hearable. It's like realities. And then it's like this kind of human beings and it become the extraordinary. Then we are meditating direct like this. Okay, maybe it's like when we say the Buddha Shakyamuni, maybe some is like a fanatic way, he's India guy. But India guy, but doesn't matter India guy or Tibet guy or Chinese guy or European guy or American, it doesn't matter. Whoever become the enlightened and some compassionate, that is the superiorities. And this India guy is become the so superior, excellent in the human societies. How is like some person is become like this? Very much extraordinary. And maybe it's like some in the fundamentally we think maybe he is a representative of the God. Maybe God sends. It's completely wrong. Even like some during the Buddha has alive, some is like disciples asked to him, surely you something emanation, or maybe something is like representative, you are extraordinary. We are never become like same as you say. He said, that is you make big mistake. That is the worst criticize to miss it. He said, I'm nothing at the beginning, maybe worse than the use. But of course, at the beginning, I apply it. How I can to become freedom from the sufferings, how I can to achieve, how I can to help. I have this kind of motivations. Then apply my own path, and through my mind is something I achieve. It's like this achievement, they call the Buddhism. You call the Buddha, or doesn't matter you not calling the Buddhas. If you through your minds, you achieve something extraordinary. Maybe you can do. I discovered you have this ability, you have this kind of quality inside. Your to nature, your mind, my to nature mind is nothing different, exactly the same. But in the temporarily, I realized that you don't realize that. Then it's different. Like same as someone's going to the primary schools. Maybe it's like someone is finished the university, like you graduated. They're coming together. Maybe primary, the students, wow, you understand everything. Maybe you know the science, maths, geographic, and the cosmology, everything you know. That how I can become same as you? And of course, this person say, you are now in the primary school. You go to gradually, you can put effort, you can to study. You finish at your university, 100%. Maybe you will become better than the MISE. And there's a guarantee. It's like this is a beginning when we at primary schools, when we go to there, compare some university student, completely different, a very big gap different there is. But also this primary student is to study, then it's finally become the equal. There's like this also Buddha, he said, if you apply, how I apply, I will tell you. And how I become the enlightenment, I will tell. You apply this path, you will become same as the means. And then is this we discover. Then we have also we want to become the enlightenment. Then why we are visualize and this one? Because it's like we want to change in a negative kind of the patterns. One is like why we cannot become the same as Buddha right now. There is a kind of the obscuration, like kind of the adventitious on the mind, ignorant, desire, the disturbed emotions. This one is like not going away. They are like kind of stuck in the mind or to be in the mind. Then our mind is very much confused and ignored and like kind of samsaric mind is become. And like this, now it's like I want to visualize like some Buddha. There's different, like a kind of the benefit. One is like in the quoting the Uttara Tantras, great, like you say, perfect Buddha is radiant. Perfect Buddha is radiant. That means someone is realized that they own to natural minds. And then these qualities, this energy, this like kind of the blessings is radiate, like kind of permeated all the phenomena, like a kind of the sunlight. And in this case, this radiance also to touch any sentient beings can give good conditions. And therefore, when we visualize the Buddhas, Buddha is already enlightened. And when we visualize that much, we receive the blessings. Kind of blessing is like kind of the purification. For example, we can to say is we have very dirty, okay, and in the body. Then what we do? We go to in the shower, and then it's like more water's coming. It's dirty slowly going away. It's a similarity like this in the temporarily. In this like a kind of give kind of condition, more connect is kind of purification into our minds. And secondarily, we are like changing. And like a kind of Buddha's pictures coming, like we are ordered to the nice, like extraordinary way. Particularly in the Buddhist, like in Tibetan Buddhist tradition, when they are drawing the thongkas, it's not kind of the imitating like same as the humans. It is like a very extraordinary way. Also, we are very happy. It's like a little bit looks like India's, not Tibetan persons. Sometimes each Buddha's teachings go to different. You can go to the China. The Chinese Buddha is like a Chinese person. It's fat, a little bit looks like China. And it's go to in the Thailand, and the Thailand Buddha looks like Thai people. Exam is in the Buddhists that go to in Japan, and Japanese Buddha is also looks like Japanese masters, and like this. But it's a reality Buddha was in India, and you look this one is like pictures a little bit India's like a face, eye, wearing clothes, or everything's India style. And then it's like this is also is a very spacious, We don't need to think about, this is a very unimagined, that's it. But this is like a little bit unimagined. Enlightenment, in our perspective, is unimagined, really extraordinary. And in this perspective, when we meditating generation times, when we look at the picture of the Buddha, that is the representative of the enlightenment. Enlightened is like this, wow, body, clothes, everything's extraordinary. We put again and again to remind again, thinking again and again. Maybe it's like you can do this kind of picture or this kind of ideas coming into the dream. Maybe certainly to your atmospheres, everything is like kind of perceived, same of the body of the Buddha and the deities. And then is this slowly familiarity is coming. Then these pictures going inside. Maybe it's like a kind of afterwards. You don't need the picture. You have a clearly into the mind. And then his mind is this picture perception is coming through your eyes. Sometimes naturally in the space. And when is in the space, there's no tonka adati, but your inner picture is projecting outside. Maybe they talk to you, they move, they can. This is like kind of appearance of the natural realities. And then it's like this through the movements, you transform to purified, to kind of the deleted your negative patterns, and wonderful. And there is the second, there is like, this is the generation and perfection phase. Perfection is like kind of the dissolution stage. Dissolution stage may be representative of the emptiness. And when you are during the generation times, like you meditate in the Buddha, and this like a picture is like really like a rainbow. And you can to see, you can to very clearly to visualize it, but nature is like kind of the non-substantial existence. And this is like perfection or the dissolutions and like this. Sometimes it's like it's an antidote for the extremes of the like kind of the existent belief of the existence. Like for example, you say like you meditating all the times generation stage and phase, generation phase. Meditating. Certainly it's like you, there's picture not, inside, external, everything, this picture is coming, like this imagine. Then it's like you have a little bit desire, attachment, and kind of the craving and this. And then it's like you are meditating in the perfection dissolution. It's a kind of the disappearing into your natural state. There's nothing kind of you are holding, nothing. Like a mind is become more like a free from the like kind of the fixations and like a thinking or like kind of the preserved something. And therefore this true are the generations phase, perfection phase. It's very important. And therefore this is necessary. Someone is like should to be mastery of the generation phase, perfection phase. Then you can to accept this dangerous offering. Maybe it's okay. Without having completed the requirement of the mental recitations. Or maybe it's like complete the requirement of the mental recitations. When you are doing the sadhanas, you know, like you make the retreat, maybe like kind of the, like we say, it's like a Dzogchen. When you use like this, there's a 4 different, like a kind of the first is Nyemba is like how do you say, it's the approach, like mental recitations, and very approach mental recitations, and the uncomplacement, great uncomplacement. This kind of, there is a 4 statements. It's need to combine this sadhana. And according that, then you are recited the mantras. The mantras is like kind of, for example, when we need to practice the Rinzan Dupa, generally we need to make the 1200,000 Om Ham Benzan Gorpe Masado. That you need to complete. and requirement for the Rinzandupa sadhana. For example, Rinzandupa sadhana, there is Om Ahum Benzangrupe Masadhum. There's, I think, 12 words. Each word we need to recite the 100,000. And then it's like 1,200,000 you completed through go to the through generation stage, perfection phase, and you completed the Rinzandupa's mental recitation complete, and then you at least one sadhana complete the mental recitations, or you complete done one is like a requirement of the sadhana, and then maybe you can to make a puja or to do something benefit for the benefactor, and you can to accept the dangerous offerings. Maybe it doesn't hurt to you. Maybe that time it's good to say something. It's like sometimes we say it's like offering things. Some lamas, they never accepted. Like kind of the Shaji Zenkar Rinpoche says, once I make joke, I offered something, he says, give back. You haven't got any compassions. If you to accept it, be happy. Okay, he said, now I accept it, and after he give back. That is not fun, said. If you're not fun, I don't want it, then it's like that. But it's like this. Sometimes, okay, little bit connections is nice. But for ourselves, we want to accept the dangerous offerings. We should to like before to accept. We need to like this. Then is to obtain offering by the performing authentic rituals, just chanting the secret mantra perfunctorily, like Wangpo so serious. It's the serious transgression. That is like sometimes they don't like, okay? Like Wangpo sources, so serious. Means it's like in the Wangpo tradition, Wangpo means it's like shamanism. And sometimes they using the many authentic, it's like secret mantrayanas, like a kind of the perfunctorily, performed like this doing. And automatically they doing like, for example, sometimes a little bit kind of their argumentations. And I'm not sure for myself, I don't know it, but it's like, for example, you teaching direct great perfections, like Dzogchen Chenpo teachings and some Wangpo teachers, where you have this lineage transmissions, how it is occurring. Of course, it's like a Wangpo tradition is principally started in Tibet. Of course, it's like a Wangpo is like our old, very ancient culture. Like before the Buddhism came into Tibet, is our religious is Wangpo. But it's of course Wangpo's the teacher is you call the Tumba Shirap. It says the more than the 71,000 years ago he born in the near the Kailash. And that is maybe yes, maybe no, is very much mysterious. And also it's like then it's like the teaching is existence. We need some proof. Which kind of we need proof? Maybe text, maybe on the rock, maybe on the like some pots, maybe some is some a little bit to have proof, but there's nothing proof. And after Buddhists came, and during the Trosung Detsen, particularly he wanted to kind of to clarify which the spirituality. He many spirituality invited and to sharing. And of course he has big connections and from the Sons and Gambos. And then it's like that time he was also lucky. He invited the Shantarakshita. Shantarakshita is come from the Nalanda. And then it's later Guru Rinpoche and Pema Sambhava. And then it's like Guru Rinpoche has recognized some Tibetan children. And they like kind of the taking care of them. Like for example, Meru Chanam. Then they become the disciple of the Guru Rinpoche. There's someone they send to India. And that time is India also, there is some Buddhist masters, many. And then they slowly, they changed. And then it's like completely converted, kind of the changed. In the Tibetan become the Buddhist. Then there is like kind of in the Bon tradition, there's a Shar, Yong, course, there's 3 texts. And then there maybe is a little bit ancient tradition. For example, like ancient shamanism to connect to some that nature, earth, ground, plant. It's when you do that something is benefit for others, quite very useful. And therefore it's like then this a little bit transform into mixed similarity of the how do you say it in Buddhist. Then they kept, but why not? Then it's like this is like kind of Pombo today. Then after all the Buddha's the teachings are translated into the Pombo tradition, then now it's like there's a Pombo Buddhism. And I mean, I don't know, it's a reality, but last time there's a little bit kind of the argue. We don't need to argue, it's maybe Pombo, of course it's Tibetan, like ancient Buddhist, okay? But it's like, there's one teacher, he says like a student, would you like to, real the India Buddhist want to study or Pombo Buddhist want to study? And then it's like someone's like say, okay, I'm going to follow more the Pombo Buddhist said. Pombo Buddhist is not come from India, completely different teacher. And India Buddhist is not come from Pombo. But there is like, of course, a path, result, and even the like 5 path, 10 bhumis, all the Kanjur, Tanjur. Now also there is a Tirma also there is. And these things, because it's like before I don't know how they translate, how they did, but we are not much caring someone's doing these things, a little bit ignored, okay, doing like this. This is something like transformed. Maybe this is good, but of course, there's a business of Buddhist at the beginning, maybe they generate bodhicitta, in the middle meditation, it's exactly now the same thing, but the source is a little bit different. Therefore, he said it's like some Patrul Rinpoche, you performing authentic rituals, just chanting secret mantras, is a little perfunctorily like a Pombo sources. Is the serious transgression means seriously, it's a big kind of the negative result is maybe hell. Something he says like this. And you don't care. So maybe in the future, 100% in Europe, this sometimes happened. For example, I heard many people, they hated to keep the lineages. For example, like a kind of 1 or 2 couples came very far from Australia, I don't know, a few years ago, came to me, says like, can we practice or to study Dharma without teachers? I said, why you don't went with, we hate teacher, we don't want to follow teacher. We want to just to pick up same as our barber, to like, we don't care the transmission, empowerment, and the instructions. We want to our own self to study. We become the enlightenment. And maybe there's in the Buddhist tradition, they call the Pachika Buddhas. Probably if you have some in the memory in the past, maybe yes, maybe not. Really, I'd say this, I'm not sure. But maybe yes. And in this perspective, like this, maybe in the future is some in the Europe, if you really to establish, you want to establish in your country, in your society, your families, you should to take care. It's like 1 or 2 persons to take care, maybe it's a can benefit to influence all. Everybody's forgetting, this is Tibetan traditions. Many Tibetan traditions say, you need transmission, you need empowerment, you need kind of unbroken lineage. Why you need it? Once I was in China. In China, there's no this. They don't want to follow that. And Japan, maybe not. In the other, all the Buddhist countries only accepted in Tibetan Buddhism. And this one is many great masters, they're taking care. Even the Guru Rinpoche's, his stories, There is he hasn't got one is like transmissions, and he's searching one like a poor beggar lady. She has these transmissions, and he requested to her, "Can you give me transmission?" She was very scared. "You are the Buddha, and you are the Pema Sambhava, and a great Pantitas. How you ask to me this? Doesn't matter. You kept this transmission energy purely. I need it." She offered. She became the teacher of the Nguru Rinpoche. Like this, it's like very important. For example, in the moderns, in the Nyima schools, the Shaji Tingun Chense Rinpoche, how much is like extraordinary masters. When he came to in Tibet, he sometimes hasn't got some like different traditions, texts, no transmissions. He asked everybody, he collected. When he received, he expressed like this. And also this holiness, wonderful things, like kind of he received all the different traditions, and then he offered to others. Some great masters like this, without kind of empowerment, without like kind of transmission, and these instructions is not very much functional. Maybe it's a little bit that I'm really not sure. Then here says it looks like we become the Pombo traditions. But I don't know really these ones. We need to serious to check. And therefore it's like sometimes a little bit to check. Therefore here's the, to use the dangerous donation is comparative to eating piles of the burning irons. It's donations. This is dangerous donations. Dangerous because it can making you a rebirth of the hell, hunger ghosts, animals, and therefore it is a dangerous donation. If you accept, you like kind of all the time like this, without like kind of yourself maturation, no kind of qualities, you kind of using something spirituality in order to collect something dangerous donations. It's a very there's a compatible. Like for example, like you are eating pile of the burning irons here. Like kind of how you can to eat like this kind of burning iron, like liquid, like lava balls, like this kind of. If ordinary peoples partake of them without having and cast iron John of the union of the generation and perfection phases, they will burn themselves up and be destroyed. Here is like really you eat this dangerous donation like a kind of the iron liquid burn. And in order to eat this dangerous iron hot liquid, and you need a special jones. Jones is like this teeth. And like this, the cast iron or the bronze, like kind of, this kind of special contain or the specials, then iron liquid can to bear. Like this which kind of we need in order to eat dangerous offering. We need like this cast iron generation jaw and perfection jaw, and then you can to tune these dangerous offering things. And if we haven't got, then maybe burn ourselves up, and like kind of the burn up what? To burn up the hell. And it's like also our own, how do you say, it's like a stream of the body, speech, mind is worse and like kind of deteriorate and destroying. And also it's like destroying ourselves. And there is like kind of that one quotation. And I think this quotation is kind of come from Ndope Makaro. I don't know, can you check, okay? The Sutta of the White Lotus. I think this come from like, I'm not sure, okay, to check. Dangerous offering are the lethally sharp razor. Consume them, and they will cut the life artery of the liberations. liberations. That means it's like and the dangerous offering, black offerings. It is like a kind of the special, the lethally sharp razors and some weapon, and like a kind of the great cutter. And if you consume, as you eat or you take too much them, it's a cut your life. Utterly means it's like in the future, your kind of the cause of the liberation, the path of your liberation, or it's life of the artery. It's a cutting by this one, and to make it deteriorate or the worst things. Therefore, it's like when you accepted the dangerous offerings, you should to have some certain achievement. And like this. Okay, now we can stop. Yes, love. How many? Okay. Have now? Maybe 15 minutes. 11:45 we start. 11:45 start. 11:45, 11:45, 11:45, 11:45.